का प्रकाश दे, ब्रह्म प्राप्ति रूप सर्वश्रेष्ठ रत्न दे, हे प्रभु हृदय ज्ञान का प्रकाश दे, हे प्रभु हृदय में ज्ञान का प्रकाश दे, आत्मशुद्धि का प्रयत्न सत्य कर्म है, आत्मशुद्धि का प्रयत्न सत्य कर्म है, ज्ञान के बिना कहो कहाँ।
भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। We were studying the consequences of unselfishness, and last time we were studying about how unselfishness becomes a problem solver. The moment you think of yourself as having a problem, if you can also think that other people also have that problem and try to solve the problem for everybody, then eventually you have done something great. That's what happened to Buddha, right? Buddha was struck by sorrow. He saw those four sides, three sides. You know, what is this? And he saw the mendicant. Then he said, oh, there's somebody who seems to know how to be peaceful. So I am struck by sorrow. Now what? So he didn't say, I am struck by sorrow. His question is, what is the root of sorrow? You realize the difference between this? So, what is the root of sorrow means? How will this sorrow go for everybody? I mean, it's not personal. He didn't make it personal. I'm so unhappy. If he had made it personal, what would have happened to him? He would have gone into depression. And then people would have said, oh, you're a prince and you're depressed. You have everything. Why are you unhappy? You know, silly things like that people would tell him. But he realized that this is not really any individual's problem. This is everybody's problem. And he set out to find out what is the solution. So, whatever problem, even today, you know, one big problem in today's world is that many seniors are, you know, seniors have become very active. In the earlier days, if you came to the age of 60, there was a ceremony. People celebrated it. Wendy, I don't know if you're familiar with this. In India, there is a, you know, there is a, what should I say? There's a ritual called Shashti Purti. Shashti Purti means you have become 60 years old. Like, you know, you've done something amazing. You reach the age of 60, like that. But nowadays, 60, 70, 80 people are not like, oh, okay, now one foot in the grave. They are like normal. They are all ready. They're all very capable of work and full of experiences and all of this. But now they have already become very senior in their field. For anyone to hire them, nobody wants to hire them, because if you hire such a senior person, then you'll have to pay senior rates also, right? So it's much simpler to hire a junior person. And these kids today know all that's needed to be known about IT. So who will hire them? Nobody hires them. And so you have this whole, there's going to be a massive epidemic on this. All sorts of elderly people who wish to work but can't because nobody's willing to hire them. Now, the moment, so what do elderly people do? They go to USA and take care of their grandchildren, or they go to on holidays, and then after some time they feel like there's nothing really for them to do because the children will grow up. In a few years, the children are not going to need them anymore. Couple of years, 3 or 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, the child will, your daughter or son will say, "Come look after my child." After that child is on his own, what are you going to do after that? So there's going to be a massive problem. And then people will start going to depression because they feel unneeded, unnecessary, no value addition. So if anyone looks at it, oh my God, nobody wants me, they're going to depression. But if they realize that this is a problem for everybody, maybe somebody will come up with a solution by which the world will benefit with all this, the senior abilities that are there. There's a huge untapped abilities over there. So the moment you look at yourself as the problem, there's a problem. The moment you say, oh my God, everybody else has this problem, you find the solution. So the moment we become unselfish, like that lady, imagine arriving from Pakistan, landing up in Mumbai, all her wealth is gone, everything she has is on, like on totally with her and an infant child. No relations, nobody, nothing. Just landed up over here. And then now, obviously, she's hungry and thirsty, but she doesn't think I'm hungry and thirsty. She says, oh gosh, everybody's hungry and thirsty. And she just puts up a little, what can she do? Make chai over there. And she makes chai. And then that slowly that thing becomes one big restaurant eventually. So the moment you see it from everyone's point of view, you have a solution. So selfishness is a great problem solver. All the advancement and all comes about because you realize that this is a beneficial thing. You don't even think like everybody or anything. You just realize, oh my God, this is a hugely beneficial thing. So the fourth outcome of unselfishness is that we become problem solvers rather than problem creators. Most of us are well versed in the art of problem creation. But when we become unselfish, we become problem solvers. Okay, so now we go to the next outcome of unselfishness. We did instant happiness also, right? So another outcome, fifth outcome of unselfishness is instant happiness. Most people think that unselfishness will be very, very difficult and in the future it will make you happy. Actually, no. The unselfishness gives you an instant kick. That is why people get so attached to their karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga. You feel so nice doing it. Think about it. Whenever you did something for somebody, didn't you feel very nice? So it's instant pleasure as well. Then we come to the sixth one. It gives you immediate energy. When we work unselfishly, Joy or peace is not divorced from work. Such work is the ultimate stress buster. Stress is never a corollary to action. Means when you are unselfish, it is not a corollary to action. Work and peace go hand in hand. This is because when awareness expands, the energy to work expands proportionately. It's a very interesting feature of life that when awareness increases, energy increases. We all know about unselfish people who have unflagging energy to help others even after a hard day at work. Example, doctors who moonlight clinics for the poor in the evening after a full strenuous day in the hospital, lawyers who take on additional pro bono cases, volunteers who rush to help in natural disasters. A man could trudge home totally exhausted. All he wants is to go home and sleep. Yet, if he hears his child has been bitten by a mad dog, he immediately rushes the child to the hospital. Where does the additional burst of energy come from? It comes from his shifting it, from his attention shifting from himself. Peace creates energy, agitations deplete it. So, in that peace that you get in unselfishness, suddenly you find your energy increases. Why? Because agitations, we don't realize how much the movement of thought consumes energy. You can be sitting in your bed all day, lying in your bed all day, doing nothing, and you'll be tired at the end. Because what has happened? Thought is consuming the energy. Thought is running here, there, so much. Because the less your physical body works, the more your mind works. Yes, Deepraj?
Uh, is the child being bitten by a mad dog example really appropriate? Because, like, if somebody say he goes to sleep and suddenly some like he's bitten by a scorpion, he will still rush to the hospital to cure himself.
What? I didn't
I
understand.
mean, uh, if he's like he goes to sleep and he hears that his child has been bitten by a mad dog, it's more of that there is an immediate danger, so he has to act on it than it is for somebody else. If that same immediate danger had come to him, he would still rush to the hospital, and that there would still, I mean, even if he had a very strenuous day at work, he would still want to get rid of the immediate danger.
No, no, you're assuming people are like that. There was a man, a very actually well-known person in Mumbai. His daughter, she was hardly what 30 odd years old, what is it? 30 odd years, 35 years old. Very well-known person in Mumbai. And it was like 2 o'clock at night or something, in the middle of the night. She phoned her dad. This was like 40 years ago, okay? So only landline, so she called her dad. And said, what happened? Why have you called? She said, my husband, she's 35 years old. Her husband is 2, 3 years older than her. And he said, my husband has just got a massive heart attack. And I don't know what to do with. I'm just calling the ambulance to take him to the hospital. So the father, very, very rich and well-known man in Mumbai, he said, oh my God, is that so? He put the phone down and went to sleep. Which which person in the world hearing news like this? So we think, no, no, that's danger, so people wake up. No, when your tamas is high, you don't. If
Yeah,
your
no.
neighbor's child is bit by a mad dog, you may not go and take care of the person. So it's not just immediate danger. It is your attention has to shift from yourself.
Yeah, but my point was it might be rajas rather than sattva that's driving the dad to take his son to the hospital.
Whatever. But maybe whatever your cause is, the fact is, when he's completely exhausted, where did the energy come from? Where did this additional burst of energy come from? That's the question we are solving here. Remember what our point is.
But if it's rajas, it's selfishness that is generating that energy.
Not at that moment. I mean, there is selfishness that it is his child, but at that moment, it is not about my child. It's not about me. That moment, his entire attention is child. For that little bit becomes love, because he doesn't exist in the picture anymore. If he exists in the picture, my child, he'll be so worked up, he won't be able to take the child to the hospital.
Okay, and to think about this example.
This whole concept about moving your mind away from yourself is a really incredible thing. Wordsworth says in Laodamia, love to excess was driven, that self might be annulled. Suddenly you care about somebody or something so much that you don't exist. But what happens normally is you care so much about yourself that the other is just a tool to satisfy yourself. That's the difference between love and attachment. Is somebody had a question?
No, I was just not commenting, but extending Deepraj's point and the example of the mad dog. If I was a selfish person and my neighbor's child got bitten, then I'm not too sure whether I'll go, not go, etc., etc. But if I was truly unselfish, that's when the real energy would, that's when it would kind of bring that energy to cover that extra gap, because somewhere down the line my attention was shifting. So I think Deepraj's basic point that the mad dog example is not the best example, to say the least, because somewhere down the line it is not so much about the attention shifting, but there is a lot of other things also which are coming in per se.
No, it is about the attention shifting. We have taken our concept of selfishness has to be adjusted. It is the same idea. Just because, you know what they say, if you can love one person in the world, you love the whole world. Are you familiar with that concept?
Yeah.
So if a father can actually love his child, and he does go through periods where he does, 90% of the time he may be just attached. But you will go through periods, nobody's 100%. So we don't, we have heard so much about love being universal, we have forgotten that we can love our family. It doesn't mean that if you love your family, it is definitely attachment. So there are moments in a person's life where he does love his family, not attachment. Love is attachment is when he is using his family for his personal wealth. Like, I get upset with you because you're not doing what I would like you to do. This is very different from you're in danger and I'm protecting you. My thought of myself is gone. That time I'm being loving. So the example is not wrong. It's a very good example of how, even if you're an attached person, for that time your attention is shifted from yourself. In that moment. You're muted.
You make an important point that this example is holding for that moment that the attention has shifted, because that's what explains that you got that extra burst of energy. You may not be of that nature, you may not do it, etc. But for that point of time, it was unselfishness which, caused that instant energy.
Right. Okay, so these were the 6 outcomes of unselfishness. Remember what they are. Let us go and look at them one more time. First outcome of unselfishness is you get leadership. Everyone says, how do you be a good leader? Just have an unselfish ideal, you'll become a good leader. That's simple. Second outcome of unselfishness is achievement. You achieve far more than what you do when your attention is on yourself. Third outcome is there's unending enthusiasm. Somehow, when you're unselfish about something, no matter what is going on, failure or success, you seem to be very enthused about it. Then unselfishness makes you a problem solver. You are able to come up with creative solutions. You're able to think outside the box. People are always telling us think outside the box, but nobody's telling you how to think outside the box. You will think outside the box when you care for something, you care for an ideal so much, and then you have to somehow reach it. You will think out of the box. You do whatever it takes to make that thing come true. Then fifth outcome of unselfishness is instant happiness. Everybody has experienced, whenever you do something for anyone, how nice you feel. And sixth outcome was a burst of energy. You really get a lot of energy the moment your attention shifts away from yourself. And that's why you see, people in the US where voluntary work is a very common thing. In India, we talk big, but it's not a common thing to do volunteer work. I know people who are corporate executives. They go on the street, they pick up all the homeless people, they give them food, they take, full day's work. And then they cook, and then they take it to all the homeless people. There is a group here also. During COVID, we also went with them a few times. They give food and blankets and all to the homeless. And those volunteers who are in it all the time, they're so good. They know every homeless person by name. They know where he is. They know what his needs are. Who is his family? Does he have family? They talk to them by name. They ask about their relations. Imagine, and this all happens in the middle of the night. Because the whole day they are also doing their work. They go out, and especially now again, they must be on the streets because it's getting a bit cooler. And they know each person. Can you imagine knowing every homeless person? There's not a small city, Mumbai. Then they go to the places where those homeless people stay. Because these homeless people are always trying to escape, right? From the police, from this. They're not allowed to stay on the street. So they know exactly where this guy goes to hide, what he does, everything. Incredible. What kind of dedication is required, right, to do all this? So in COVID, we did this with them a few nights, but for us, it's like just helping out. But then it's their full-time job. So when you see these people who work unselfishly, so much energy they get. Our Jayashree yesterday, she 7 o'clock in the morning, she set off with one of our sponsors. She went to Pune. From Pune, then they all went to the plot. From the plot, they came over to Santa Cruz. And then she went for a party after that. How much energy does this girl have? So, I mean, imagine just in the car must be how many? She had to go to see one other NGO because this sponsor wanted us to use that other NGO, but she's rejected the other NGO. And so now the sponsor has to deal with us directly, if at all. Energy from where? No, I say she went for a party means I'm sure she didn't want to go. Whatever need she was required, somebody else required her to go. So she went. You get a lot of energy when you're working for a cause somehow. Yes, Deepak said.
Janki, we've just outlined the 6 areas which are supported by unselfishness. Would it be true to say that a better way to give this concept is not to say that unselfishness causes leadership, unselfishness, causes achievement, and so on and so forth, but to say that unselfishness supports each one of these things, which means the concept of ceteris paribus is coming in, that there are multi causes for leadership, multi causes for achievement. But if I am more unselfish, I as an individual, then I'm definitely bound to get higher on the leadership scale, higher on the achievement scale, higher on the happiness scale, etc., etc. So the statement is that unselfishness very strongly supports these outcomes.
Many people think like that, but the stance we are taking is this is a causal relationship.
It is causal, but it is a part of a multi-causal equation.
It is a causal relationship. It's like seed and tree. All the others are merely conducive. Take very simple examples.
I'm glad I asked because this is a very important clarification.
Yeah, it's something to really think about. There are many people who are very smart. Okay, there and there are many degrees. They came first in class. They were gold medalists, whatever. But they may not be similarly in the world, right? They may not shine so much in the world. Now, how do you account for people who are less smart, less intelligent, less talented sometimes, less everything, but they are on top? Sometimes if you meet really top people, you say, अब इसमें क्या इतनी बड़ी बात थी जो हम में नहीं है, you know? So, according to Vedanta, causal relationship. That is the one single thing that matters. Everything else is incident. Now, it may sound like a very shocking statement, but actually, if you really think about it, it is people who are able to sacrifice their personal whatever is whatever goes. I have seen nobody is going to become a leader by telling people, look, I want to be a leader, you follow me. The way somebody becomes a leader is by convincing you that it is in your best interest to follow me. Right? That's what the politicians do, right? Now, let's say somebody's heading a corporate. So, if he's heading the corporate, how did he get that position? He has convinced the powers that be, whatever methodology they have of choosing that leader, that he really cares more about the company. And he's looking at everything from that point of view. From the beginning to the end, it's like that. When you have taken multiple interviews in your life, you have taken freshers in, you have taken middle management, you've taken senior management, multiple interviews. What is the one thing that you looked for? You always look for this. What is his value addition to the company. That's what you looked for, right? So those who are making that maximum value addition, those are the guys who are going up. Those are the guys who are looking at it. Even in a fresher interview, suppose a person comes to you and he says, you know, you are the CEO of Cadbury. I'm wanting to work for Cadbury. I know that this is what Cadbury has done so far. This is the trajectory it is looking at, and this is the way I would like it to grow. Imagine he talks to you that language. He may do nothing, but he just talks to you that language. You want to have him. Because he is not about I want the job and I want my career to develop. It is all about the organization. So it's a causal relationship.
No, I agree. It's a causal relationship. My point is that how does then one explain that there are many leaders, there are many achievers, who are actually not unselfish? Because if it was a one-way causal, then every achiever had to be unselfish. And we know for long periods of time, there are achievers who are actually selfish. And because of that, in the causal relationship, they will fall from grace. That's a different thing altogether. But in the window of observation, they are still very much, there because they have brought in other causes which have in a turn overcome the unselfishness angle, and they are selfish.
No, that never happens. We are misassessing the situation. Let's take a smuggler or Don. Okay? So you will say, well, Don to selfish hai hi. But there are so many criminals. Why is this guy a Don? Right? So even in the most selfish thing, a criminal, now what more selfishness can you have? Even there, the man who gives maximum benefit to his people, whatever they are, he's the guy who's become the Don. So that selfish, unselfish, we have to see in the context of that.
That is exactly how I started. That unselfishness will support. See, let's take the Don example. I'm a Don because I am very good at running the pies and managing the guns and the trade and everything. Yeah, but if I am unselfish, then I will rise in my trade and unselfishness will support me and I will be the Don of Dons. Otherwise, I'll just be, whatever.
If you're unselfishness, you'll become the Don and all your other good traits will support it. Your administrative ability or your, shooting ability, whatever it is a Don requires to be a Don. Maybe there's a good
difficult to get the markers right, but yes.
So all that supports. In fact, the most amazing thing is if you actually examine it, is the guy on top usually doesn't even have all these supporting things. Very often I have seen the people on the top don't have the best administrative skill or the best marketing skill or the best anything. But what they're able to do is they're able to use the skills of others. They're able to, pivot the whole thing on the good qualities of others. So
it's all about harnessing the collective strength.
Yeah. So that quality comes out of unselfish. And, we take unselfishness very black and white. We take it in the sense of, he's doing things for people. He's like he's social work or something. And so that's unselfish. And then he's working in the corporate. And so that's not unselfish.
No, we're talking about unselfishness as an orientation, not really as this thing.
Yes, correct. So
that distinction is important.
Unselfishness in that context.
Yeah.
The most unselfish person in that context will be the leader.
Yeah, I think this in that context is a very important clarification.
Only, in that circumstance, in that whoever is, he will shine. Like now, maybe you can't get a job in Google until you are passed out from Stanford or something. I don't know. I'm just making up. I don't know. So they'll have some criteria in that base criteria. So amongst all the people who have that, the one who's most unselfish is the guy who shall stand out. He will get along with people. Others will say he should be the leader. Now, people can subvert this because the human mind uses every trick in the trade to subvert. That is where the genius of these cause and effect relationships come. That it is very difficult. Right? Somebody may short circuit it. For instance, suppose my boss is a very temperamental guy or a very biased person, and he only promotes those who give him gifts and talk to him sweetly. So all the selfish people will be able to subvert this. You know what I mean? They can short circuit things. In that, to finally figure out that unselfishness is the cause. Because see, now, suppose I have a boss who is like this. He will only promote people who flatter him. Now, amongst the people who flatter him, the one who is most unselfish, in the sense that he has the maximum care for that person, will be the peon top. So always you have to see it in that, and then you begin to see the nuances of the whole philosophy. Otherwise, they make it so black and white, and then you don't see how it fits in real life. But it fits beautifully when you start seeing it like that.
Yeah, thank you.
What's the piece of poetry you recited? Did I recite some poetry?
I think you said Lidomia.
Oh, that one. Oh, that was quite a long while ago. Okay. Is that what you're referring to, Sarthak?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, look up Laodomia. It says, uh, love to excess was driven, that self might be annulled. A very interesting word also, it's annulled. You know, when a marriage is annulled, that means that marriage never took place, right? The divorce is you got married, and then the marriage is taken place, and now you're divorced. Annulled is you're denying that the marriage took place. I mean, no real wedding took place. That's basically what you're saying. Very, very interesting usage of language. It's annulled. I mean, it never really happened. It's nullified. It's not a breakup. You're asserting that never happened. So this small self never happened. You are thinking it has happened. It never did. You get that sense of what an idiot I have been to think that the small self exists. That the loss of that is not a divorce. It's not it was there and I removed it. It was never there. In my stupid imagination that made me think it was there. That I am important. That sense has to be annulled. It's so important, right? For me, what I think, what I feel, what I do. It's not. What makes you think anything you say or think or feel or do is in any way important? It's like a leaf just shaking on a tree. That leaf can drop off any moment. What are you talking about? It's so important. It's so important. So, if you can see only the leaf, you will naturally think it is important. But when you start seeing the tree, self is annulled. You realize it was not important then also. When I was saying it was important, then also it was not important. It's not like it was important and now I made it less important. It was never important. Sarthak, it's from the poem Laodomia. Okay, so the other important point in this topic which you should have take note of is how peace gives you energy and agitations deplete energy. And what is agitations? It's movement of thought. If your thought moves, imagine what a definition, right? That's agitation. You have a thought, a single thought, that's agitation. What kind of definitions they've given us, right? Crazy definitions. So once you think like that, can you imagine how much energy we have depleted? How much our mind has moved? How many things we have thought? When actually all that required was silence. But
Ma'am,
read silence like that, unfortunately. Hmm?
am I audible?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, ma'am, in this is the absolute state you're talking about, now, when even a single thought is. Otherwise, when we say love, we what we mean by love in philosophy is that we are thinking about the other person, so that and now we are not thinking about ourselves. We are thinking about the other person, and that's unselfishness, and that's love. But the thought of the other is existing in this case.
Yeah, because this is a compromise position. The real position is identification. You feel exactly the same as the other. Since you are not going there, you say, okay, let me serve. The highest level is you feel the other person and you are the same. You're not serving anybody. But when we can't feel the same, then we say serve. Because now you're seeing too.
So identification is a stage even above love.
No, identification is love. That is real love. That what is love? That I feel what you feel. Your sorrow is my sorrow. Your joy is my joy. That is love.
To come down to that the level of that person completely.
Yeah. So you're not doing anything for the person. Like when you are, I don't know, when your hand picks up food and puts it in your mouth, you don't say, "Oh, my hand is served my mouth." That makes sense, right? Because it's
Correct.
one. So highest level is identification. One. Who is serving whom? Lower level than that is service. You can't reach identification. See, all of these are effects. But what is the cause? That's the great thing. Why is Vedanta so great? Is because it tells you what is the cause. How do you reach that point? People may tell you what is the highest point, but then how do you reach it? So, is Vedanta, I mean, as far as I know, is the only systematic knowledge that teaches you how to reach there. Many people state the truth. They tell you this is what it is. So now then, but we continue to be where we are. So here's a systematic process that they give us, that you do this and then you get there. That is why, we have great hopes from the course that hopefully somebody will undertake that process and reach the goal. अब देखते हैं. Right. So you're okay, Sarthak?
Yes.
The expanding the consciousness. One's growth as a human being can be gauged by one's level of consciousness or awareness. What is one aware? Oneself, one's family, city, country. A man wins a lottery. There's a sudden windfall. Where will he spend the money? On himself, his family, city, country? That indicates the level of awareness. Or the price of petrol has increased. What yardstick would one use to comment on that event? Oh no, my expenses will go up. Or is this beneficial to my country's economy? Our general conversations, our concerns and worries tell us about our level of awareness. Like, what are you aware of? How do you know how much your attention has expanded? Simple. What are you worrying about? Are you worrying about putting on weight, losing weight? Are you worrying about getting marks, not getting marks, getting a job, not getting a job, getting money, not getting money? Or are you worried about what is happening to the nation or what is happening to humanity? What is it you're worrying about? Our general conversations, our concerns and worries tell us about our level of awareness. What is the one thing we worry about most? Is it all related to myself and my family, or does it go beyond? There is more to life than, oh, my fur and my whiskers. Remember, oh, my fur and my whiskers. Everybody says it became a famous line. Why is it such a famous line? Because it shows the pettiness of our existence. Oh, my fur and my whiskers. That's what the cat says. Oh, my fur and my whiskers. You can't see anything beyond that. Making a big, storm in a teacup. Oh my God, this and that and that and this. All unnecessary. If you just think, suppose you get caught in a traffic jam. Okay? 15 minutes you were standing somewhere. How do you relate that incident to somebody? You know what happened? You will never believe. 15 minutes I was standing there. The other person doesn't know. I mean, how exciting is it for another person to hear that you were stuck in a spot for 15 minutes? Why are you telling this person? Is he interested? No, then this happened. Then I was honking. So, मैं क्या करूं? You know that is my conversation telling you something that I believe is in your welfare, or is my conversation saying something that I wish to say? At every moment in life, are we merely saying जो मेरे मन में है? I want to say it, I'm saying it. Or is this conversation supposed to do anything for any purpose? So very, very interesting how my whole life is around um, around oh, my fur and my whiskers. I'm so important. Anything that happens to me is so important. Even I cut my finger while cooking. I cut my finger. The way I tell this incident, I never expressed that 5,000 children in what Nigeria have been kidnapped. That no problem. I cut my finger, very big problem. I took motivation from your traffic resolution story and resolved stuck traffic by getting out of the car just last week. Well, yes, you see, your problem is not your problem, it's everybody's problem. Now, if you don't believe me, you can ask Mahesh, Jayashri, Bharat. It was Mahesh's birthday. And we were stuck for so long. I'm not making up all these things. You can verify with all of them. They were all there. Oh, and today is Bharat's birthday. Happy birthday, Bharat. Everybody's birthday is coming one after the other. But Bharat hasn't taken us anywhere. He took us in his car for Mahesh's birthday. And then we got stuck in a traffic jam. And then Jayashri and I became traffic constables. It was such a small thing. Everybody is stuck in the car. It was such a small thing. Mahesh's turn to treat on my birthday. Yes, Mahesh, now it's your turn. So, life is all about me and anything that happens to me. Today is my birthday. So, today's day is very important. Why? Because I was born. But every day somebody or the other was born. Everything we tend to look now, poor Bharat, Bharat, this is not for you, okay? But what I'm saying is that we tend to look at everything from a very personal point of view. Oh, my fur and my whiskers, as the cat said. At the lowest level of growth, one has a very restricted level of awareness of things or beings around.
Just a second, ma'am. Ma'am, this last line, oh my fur and my whiskers, we are sitting in Vedanta class. We have a concept of something that is higher than body, mind, and our particular individuality. Let's say a person has no such concept. They don't know that there exists a self. They live as the body, mind, intellect, and they have no other concept of some existence of something higher. Then would it be fine for them? Oh, my fur and my whiskers. Is it okay for them in this case?
There are multiple erroneous things in what you said. Firstly, just because we are sitting in a Vedanta class doesn't mean we have stopped saying, oh, my fur and my whiskers. Number one. Number two, just because they are not sitting in a Vedanta class doesn't mean that they are saying, oh, my fur and my whiskers. There could be very many unselfish people who don't attend Vedanta class. There could be people who are much finer than us who don't attend classes. So there is no correlation between being in class and or studying Vedanta or teaching Vedanta and not having an ego. No correlation. Zilch correlation. Now, once we start the course, so many students will come out, then they will go to teach, then they will say, I am not egoistical and I am less egoistical than you are. Now, when you say, I am less egoistical than you are, uh, isn't that a statement of ego? I mean, like, how does this work? How do we have a competition and who's less egoistical?
Ma'am, I have to learn, to mind my words more in, I think, philosophy class, because each word is, doctored and like itna zyada baal ki khal nikalna. What's the word for English? I don't know. So, what I mean is that since the time I started attending Vedanta classes, I have seen that I refer to body, mind, intellect with a more unselfish attitude. It's not just about me. I'm not the center of the universe is basically my feeling. Once I started attending classes and studying Vedanta, I was asking for someone who is not, let's say, attuned to Vedanta. You are saying they can
Why
also
are
be
you
unselfish.
repeating the question? Let the answer at least be over. You've already taken off. Let the answer be over. Then you repeat the question if you didn't get an answer. Okay. If you interrupt the answer, then now how does the person finish? And now you're repeating everything you said before. Nothing new has been added. So let's go step by step. First is multiple erroneous statements. Now that we've dealt with those erroneous statements, now we come to your concept. That is it okay for a person who doesn't know about the self to be thinking about himself? What is that supposed to mean? It's like saying, is it okay for a person who doesn't know it's poison to drink it? What does that mean? Your knowledge about the laws or non-knowledge of the laws, ignorance of the laws, does not absolve you from their effects. If you don't know it's fire and you put your hand into it, it'll still burn you. So is it okay? Is it okay for what? As if the effect won't come to you just because you don't know the law, effect won't come. You don't know that you're not allowed to break a traffic light and you broke it. Effect won't come. Police will catch you anyway. So there is no correlation between your knowledge of Vedanta and your reduction of ego. Wherever there is ego, whether you know it or you don't know it, effect will come.
That's a big statement that there's no correlation between reduction of ego and studying Vedanta. Let's say you took the example of fire. Let's say there's a burning fire or building, a burning building, and a child is stuck in it. Um, I can say that no, even if the body burns, even if the my mind and intellect, even if my whole existence is burning, I will still exist as a self. I can apply Vedanta there, and I can easily run into the building. And of course, there can be a courageous person who can still do the same and save the child, basically. But in both cases, reduction of ego can come by studying Vedanta, is what I'm saying.
In both cases, one has got no study of Vedanta, one has got study of Vedanta, and both are the same result. So, what's the correlation?
In one case, he's
Wait, you're
putting
saying
his.
you're trying to establish. You said this is a very, don't go here and there. Focus on your point. You said it's a very big statement to say that there is no correlation between the study of Vedanta and, I would say, between study or teaching of Vedanta and reduction of ego. There's no correlation. And you gave a point which explains that there is no correlation to one person had it, one person didn't have it. They both did the same action. So you're proving the point, you're not disproving it.
Okay, I understand what you are saying. Because I also said that there is one more person who has not studied Vedanta and achieved the same result. But my result was achieved differently. My methodology was different than his.
Okay, so
In my case, Vedanta helped me. In his case, maybe he's putting his fears before him.
Vedanta is not capable of doing this. If it was capable of doing it, all the students, 40 years I have taught, I don't know how many students are going to go and run into a fire and burn themselves. Not capable. Only an individual is capable of raising himself. Vedanta is a tool. No tool does anything until you use it. There is a system here, there's a format here, there's a process here. But just because you're exposed to that doesn't mean anything. Are you using the tool? That's the question. So, Vedanta, powerful as it is not capable of helping a single soul. Your gurus, your teachers, your books are not capable of helping a single soul. Only you are capable of helping yourself.
Okay, only we are capable of helping ourselves. These are tools. That's what you mean.
So there is no correlation. A person has a whole garage full of carpentry tools. Is there a correlation between that and his ability to build a single bookshelf? There's no correlation between the tools and him building a bookshelf. Depends on how he uses those tools. At the lowest level of growth, one has a very restricted level of awareness of things or beings around. The consciousness is only of the body. Something is good if it caters to the needs of one's body. Such a person is hardly aware of the repercussions of his behavior on others. That his action would hurt another is of no consequence to him. He easily tramples over those who are weak or infirm or cannot retaliate. Such people are animalistic. If they can take advantage, they do. The jungle law holds survival of the fittest. A civilized individual or society is known by his or her attitude towards the downtrodden, the weak, those who cannot look after themselves, and those who cannot fight back. It may be a dependent spouse or an employee who needs the job. Do we exploit them or protect them? Trees cannot protest, so we chop them down ruthlessly under the name of development. Being civilized is nothing but the expansion of consciousness. Beauty, art, culture, philosophy, and science arise only when we can see beyond the immediate. All virtues are nothing but this expansion. Cleanliness is awareness of the environment. Love, courtesy, charity are identification with others. Civic sense is the consciousness of the city, and SPCA, the awareness of animal rights. All virtue is nothing but expansion of consciousness. Okay, so that's it for today, and we will continue next time. Hari.
Hey,
Thank you, Janki ji, and everyone.
Hari Om Janki Ji.
Have a good week. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Hari Om Janki Ji.
Mhm.